Kobe taught me a pivotal and for me a life-changing lesson that morning, and that's just because something is basic, it doesn't mean that it's easy. In 2007, Nike flew me out to Los Angeles to work the first ever Kobe Bryant Skills Academy. So Nike decided they were going to take the best high school and college players from around the country, and they were going to run a 3-day mini camp with the best player in the world. And for anyone that's listening that does follow basketball, you have to appreciate in 2007, Kobe was that dude. I had always heard this urban legend of how insanely intense Kobe's individual workouts were. Well, I figured now that I was on camp staff, this was my chance. This was my shot. So I went up to him at my first opportunity and asked if I could watch one. And he was so gracious and said, "Sure, man, I'm going tomorrow at 4. And I got a little bit confused because the nerd that I was had just got done looking through the camp schedule, which said the first workout with the kids was the next day at 3:30. Well, he clarified that with a wink and said,
4 a.m.
There's not a legitimate excuse in the world on why you can't be somewhere at 4 in the morning, especially not an excuse that Kobe Bryant is going to take. If you guys told me that the only time you had to record today was at 4 a.m., I would be here. No questions, because the opportunity is much more important to me than the one morning of getting some extra sleep. So once Kobe said 4 a.m. and he'd already given me an invite, I basically committed myself to being there. There's no backing out at that point. And I figured if I was going to be there anyway, I might as well try and impress him. I might as well try and leave my mark. So I come up with the genius plan to beat him to the gym. So I set my alarm for 3 a.m. The alarm goes off, I quickly get myself together, and I hop in a taxi, and I go to the gym. And I step out of the cab. Now it's 3:30 in the morning. It is pitch black outside. And yet from the parking lot, I can see that the gym light is already on. I can even hear a ball bouncing and sneakers squeaking. He had foiled my plan to beat him to the gym. I walk in the side door. Kobe's already in a full sweat. He was going through an intense warm-up before his scheduled workout started with his trainer at 4. Now, out of professional courtesy, and just because I was thankful to be there, I didn't say anything to him, and I didn't say anything to his trainer. I just sat down to watch. And for the first 45 minutes, I was actually shocked. For the first 45 minutes, I watched the best player in the world do the most basic footwork and offensive moves. Kobe was doing stuff that I had routinely taught to middle school age players. Now, this is Kobe Bryant we're talking about. This is the Black Mamba. So he was doing everything at an unparalleled level of effort and with unparalleled focus. And he was doing everything with surgical precision. But the actual stuff he was doing was very, very basic. Now, the whole workout lasted a couple hours. When it was over again, I didn't say anything to him. I didn't say anything to his trainer. I just quietly left. But man, my curiosity got the best of me. I had to know. So later that day at camp, I went up to him again and said, "Kobe, I don't understand. You're the best player in the world. Why are you doing such basic drills?" And again, he was incredibly gracious and he smiled, but he said with all seriousness, "Why do you think I'm the best player in the world?" Because I never get bored with the basics. I never get bored with the basics. Kobe taught me a pivotal and for me a life-changing lesson that morning, and that's just because something is basic, it doesn't mean that it's easy. If it was easy, everyone else would be doing it. But as you all know, we live in a world that tells us it's okay to skip steps, that tells us it's okay to circumvent the process, that all but pushes us, especially on social media, to chase what's hot and what's flashy and what's sexy and just ignore what's basic. Just because it's basic, it doesn't mean that it's easy. And the basics work. They always have and they always will. That will never change. So the key to us improving our performance in any area of our life is identifying what those basics are, what those fundamentals are, and being relentlessly committed to performing them with consistency. And that's hard because, as you all know, the basics are usually boring. They're mundane. They're monotonous. You know, we all want to chase what's flashy and what's sexy. But the basics is where the gold is. And the highest performers I've ever been around in basketball or business have found a way to fall in love with the basics and make them a part of their daily routine.